But to me, that should be illegal because I don't
Ooh,
want to accidentally.
we almost you one of y'all hit the button
I
What
as
did.
me?
I
right
did.
as
I
I was
said it.
hitting the button, and
Making
then
sure
it
y'all
popped
paying
up.
attention. Abe
Why
was
did I
talking
hear
about
it?
putting meat in his mouth, and we wanted to make sure we got
Yeah.
that out to the audience. He
Well,
was talking about going beyond
the
and
problem
how
is that
impossible it was.
Did you do
they
it?
have the fake meat right next to the regular meat, and it looks they trick you by making it look the same. Next thing you know, you've gone vegan, and I would have sued. I'm telling you
And then you're
right
going to be
now.
wearing skinny jeans and sipping a soy latte with your
I,
man bun.
yeah, I would have called one of the lawyers that you see on TV who are like, have you been besmirched? Call us. We see green, not red. And
Right. I like that. We see green, not red.
I
That's
like
perfect.
that. I'm going to have to
Because I'm
remember
seeing
that one.
red.
That's awesome. Oh my
I
God.
mean, all of our food is like that while we're ranting. Like, you can't go into the store and buy something that's not unadulterated. And that's what Kennedy's on about.
well, what's crazy because I get worried about stuff that I never would have considered before. Where I'm like, wait a minute, does that have seed oil in it? And I don't even know if that's a problem or not. Like people say it is, and it's just it just sucks. It just sucks that we just don't have regular, real,
Well,
plain old food to
I
eat.
I typically don't care. But I
Right.
mean,
We've noticed.
but well, no, but I mean about stuff like I don't get worked up about GMOs or I know bacon has nitrites in it and that's bad for you, but bacon is proof that God loves us. I'm sorry.
Right.
But you can
And
get healthy nitrites, and you can get bad nitrites.
right. I mean if the choice was turkey bacon with nitrites or no bacon, then I would go to no bacon
Right.
for
Right.
for one thing cuz
Well,
turkey
so
bacon
so
is a
here's
lie perpetrated by Big
yeah.
Turkey.
We
But
invented freezer technology about 100 and some years ago,
yeah,
and so we don't need nitrites in bacon anymore. I mean, yeah, we need the smoky flavor. Don't get me wrong, but
Right.
we don't
Well, they
need
I
it
use
mean,
the
cured.
nitrates to pull the moisture out of the meat, right?
Yeah,
I
so you could
think
hang
so,
it in
yeah.
your kitchen on
Right.
the
Right.
on a hook, not put it in your freezer frozen hard.
Well, I mean, stuff like GMOs and all that, and I tend to not worry about it or not think about it. I just eat whatever's there, right? But then I think back to some things that
The unthawing ice cream, yeah.
yes, the thing that concerns me at some point, every so often, it raises its hand in the back of my head and said, "Remember thalidomide? Remember how that worked out? Because it was
Right.
totally
Right.
safe,
Right.
and that
Right.
didn't work out so well."
Asbestos,
As oh, good one, asbestos. Yeah,
fiberglass in your menthol cigarettes, Jim.
I'm totally gonna ignore that and move on with my menthols, baby.
Wait, see, is it? I was talking to somebody about that last night. Is it
I
really
don't think
fiberglass in there, or is that
It's
just?
in the filter, is what they say. But why
well,
would they make a
it's
completely separate filter for just this
there's
one flavor of cigarette?
it's the
Well, fiberglass.
cellulose
If it's in the
filter in the
filter,
regular
sounds safe.
totally, and it's coated with thalidomide too, so you're totally safe from
You're
both. They
doubly
cancel
safe.
each other out.
Well, like what I was seeing was is that they had these two pigs. We're really off topic, but they had these two pigs that they had butchered, and they were pigs from the same litter, the same pigs that raised on the same farm, and were pasture grown pigs until they finished them for like the last 90 days.
Yep.
And then the one went on grain, corn, and soy oil diet, while the other one continued to live naturally or whatever. And they showed like the cuts of the meat, and they just looked completely different. Like it was like two. It looked like a different
Hmm.
animal.
Oh yeah, pork is actually red.
Well, so what led me on this excursion was is that we were arguing about that at work, and this guy was like, "No, pork's the other white meat," and I'm like, "That's just a lie by Big
That's
Pork."
marketing, literally.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yes,
and we looked it up because it has a certain
it's
amount of some
stressed
sort of
pork.
thing in there to make it. It's
that's
actually
right.
like you're right. It's considered red meat.
Yeah,
Red
I mean,
meat.
take a grass-fed, grass-finished steak and put it on a plate, fully cooked on your oven, your grill, whatever, the same way that you would a regular grocery store steak, and they will taste different. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not picking one over the other. That's up to your religion, but they will literally taste different.
I 100% think that the factory manufactured beef tastes better than grass fed. But I eat grass fed beef now. Like I had a grass fed steak the other day, and it is noticeably tougher.
Yeah, it just tastes different.
Yeah.
Chris Robinson, that comment is stellar. I'm just not going to put it on there because we'll lose control of
We're
the
gonna
chat.
get us
Yeah,
banned.
you get us banned.
Um, okay, all right. We sell antennas and coffee. Steve, why don't we open with a commercial since we've been yakking for 5 minutes?
We will do that. While I'm doing this, check out your Discord, Jim. So this
Okay.
is the morning net coffee, and this is what I'm having this morning. This is the breakfast blend, and I like a nice smooth, kind of nutty flavored. I guess I shouldn't have said that live. Coffee in the morning, and this will get you going. And then after that, when you start to have that afternoon slum, you need our high test to pick you back up. And this is our French roast, and this is. I feel like this has more caffeine in it. Maybe it's just what we call confirmation bias. I don't know. And then the last one that we have for you is this Mexican Chiapas Private Reserve that's good for plus 6 dB. And this right here, I'm saving this for special guests, special events. But we have lowered the price on our coffee. You can get it at hamradios.coffee. If only we had like across the bottom of the screen that could tell us where to get
Yeah,
these
what just
things.
happened there? There we go.
I hit the wrong button.
What was that beeping?
That was me trying to. Do I sound like a robot?
Yeah, it didn't
L-
fix it. You've got that, buzzy sound,
So is it an audio distortion or is it an effect?
audio distortion.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to have to drop out and reboot the mixer. Ape, did you get that document?
I didn't see
find
it in there. Just reboot real quick.
With the slideshow,
What is what is a Chiapas anyway?
It's
I'm
like
not
a
Mexican,
37 slide deck. Yeah.
so I
Come on,
don't
chip
know.
chop. Just reboot real quick, Jim.
All right.
Perhaps if we had like some AI or something that we could ask. AI knows everything. Let me check real quick.
Like, I'm gonna guess it's a region, but that would just be a guess. Be like, this is from the Chiapas region.
What is Chiapas in reference to coffee? Now you got me pronouncing it wrong. That that Balmorian in you is coming out.
Yeah.
Chiapas is a region in southern Mexico, and when it comes to coffee, it's one of the most renowned coffee producing areas in the country. Chiapas coffee is often prized for its high quality Arabica beans, typically grown at high altitudes, up to 5,500 feet in the Sierra Madre de Chiapas mountains. I can
There
go
you
on.
there you go. Because I've heard that same word used to talk about cuisine, like Mexican food, when we say it's a
Yeah.
Chiapas
So
recipe.
so technically it means fancy and cost more, but ours is fancy and doesn't cost more. All of our coffee is on sale now because we lowered the price to be a little more competitive with some other ham radio show out there that sells coffee.
If
There
it
is
means
one.
fancy, we should call the antennas Chiapas.
Yeah. These come from the Omaha region of Nebraska. The
They
Great
are.
Plains makes the greatest antennas. I love it.
And I guess we said something funny. Mr. Wiley is saying Arabica Chiapas.
Yeah, so it's the Arabica bean from the Chiapas mountain region.
And then we have the chupacabra.
I dated her once.
Right. I believe that the chupacabra is real.
I could tell you her name and where she currently lives.
Right.
And well, so just to put it out there, if I ever do tell you her name and where she currently lives, she looked better when I dated her.
Right. In
The years
case
have
it
not
actually
been
slips
good.
out.
Yeah.
Man, I've got this cold going on, and
Jim.
it's
Jim
driving
is
me
not a new
bonkers.
member.
Hey, Jim.
This is Airwaves GPS Jim.
Yeah, I was talking to him, and he is a new member again. He's a renewed member. His
Just a
credit
little.
card. He switched out his credit card. He was telling me about it.
YouTube does that too. Like mine switched out for a couple of my memberships, and it's like, okay, I renewed it, and you went ahead and canceled the memberships anyway. So if you guys were members and you're not now, be sure and check that. Your name will be in green text, I believe, in the chat window if you send a message in.
But I think you lose the
I'm
months
not, I'm not stalking her.
of tenure. But if you look in your YouTube members page, it still has their original membership date. I don't know why they can't get that right.
Yeah, they made that their own personal
Whew.
nightmare.
Here we go. And Jean-Luc Guérin, he says that he uses his ground coffee and rubs for his
That's a
brisket.
good idea. That's a good idea for two reasons. Number one, you get that awesome coffee flavor in your brisket, and number two, it actually, what is that word? Tenderizes the meat. It's got a chemical reaction that makes it easier.
Yeah, I bought this cowboy rub that has a coffee flavor to it.
I'm not sure you want to say that live on stream.
Cowboy rub. Yeah.
Yeah, like some Brokeback Mountain stuff.
Yeah, but I don't like it as much as I get the stuff from this guy. His name's Malcolm, and his company's called Killer Hogs, and he has
We're waiting for
fantastic
Jim.
pork rub. I have no idea what Jim's going to be showing today. He
And
was
yeah, we were early enough in the show that that audio would have been a problem, for an hour.
yeah. Thump and I were comparing dry rubs, and that's when we ordered that stuff, and he said he didn't like it either.
So my wife makes this Guinness stew that is like everything that you have left over in the kitchen sink, in the dry pantry, in the larder, in the root cellar,
Mm.
and it's fantastic. I mean, add Guinness and there you go.
Well, we do like stuff like that in the crock pot a lot, and I love doing that. Like get it going like early Saturday, and I'll just leave it in the crock pot all day Saturday and Sunday, and then it
A
just
lot
gets
of Guinness.
It
A
just
lot of
gets better,
Guinness.
better with age.
So I have a problem with crock pot cooking. Every crock pot I've ever gotten has gotten too hot, and by the time I get, like 8 hours have gone by, that meat is so ridiculously dry, sitting in a bath of water. I don't know, like how is that physically possible?
Right. Well, we got a Ninja crock pot, and
I
it was
love
like
Ninja
big.
stuff.
Yeah, it was big and round, and it was the most bestest crock pot I've ever used in my life. And then my wife drops the lid for it, and and it shattered everywhere. And buying a lid is like almost the same price as buying the whole crock pot.
Yeah, yeah. Take the broken one, put it in the basement for spares, and then get the new one out.
Right? I was like, I'll put it in the basement for become a smelter for something.
John, I know they have thermostats on it. Like I said, I put it at its lowest setting.
Well, some of them just have a dial, right, where it's like low, medium,
Yeah.
high, and then like some of them you can get that have like Bluetooth and an app and all that stuff. And I don't want that complexity in my life.
My Ninja wood-fired grill has Wi-Fi, so I was at a park one day and my grill was like, "Your beef jerky is ready," and I'm like, "Crap, I gotta go home."
Right, we got to go.
I mean, it'll sit there, it'll be fine, but like, man,
Yeah, I guess Jim he probably rebooted his machine and now it's not coming. Now it's not coming back up.
yeah, it does
Coming
take a
back
while
up.
for Windows 95 to come back up. See, Dave's talking about this Instapot. I want to try it, but I also don't want yet another kitchen gadget in my life.
That's why. That's why I haven't gotten one. Gotten one. Man, my throat is jacked today. That's why I haven't gotten one. But when I was a kid, my grandmother used to cook everything in a pressure cooker,
Hmm.
and apparently the Instapot
Not a
is
canner, a pressure cooker. They're two
yeah.
different. You can kind of use them the same way, but they're definitely two different things.
But yeah. Apparently the Instapot is really just a pressure cooker.
Yeah, put a ham in there, put some green beans in there, put some flavor in there, and come back when it's done. And it should be done like twice as fast.
Yeah, and I don't know if you eat a lot of rice or not, but I bought just like a cheap, like $15 rice cooker, and that thing is like one of the best. Like we talk about kitchen gadget.
So I will either make this the biggest argument on the planet, or I will improve your life forever. So my dad had this recipe of cooking rice that just works. First off,
Mm,
patience is life. Like if you don't have patience, you're really hurting your life by being angry all the time. You take the water, you bring it to a boil, you put in a little, oil so it doesn't stick together or butter, and then you put in some salt or some garlic or some flavor. When the water comes to a boil, you put the rice in, you put the lid on it, you move it to the back burner and forget about it until it's ready. Perfect rice every time, never sticks to the pan, nothing to scrub when you're done, but it's patience.
yeah, it definitely is. With this rice cooker though, it has like three lines inside, one, two, three, and you put the rice up at that level, and then it
Hmm.
has a cup that has one, two, or three, and you just fill it up to that level and pour it in. Shut it, hit the button for whatever type of rice it is, and then it
Hmm.
beeps when it's done. But it takes a while. It takes like 40 minutes to make rice.
Yeah, so my method only takes like 40 minutes also, and it's done by the time I'm finished cooking all the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, but I like it quite a bit.
So we have one, and I get a little worked up every time it comes out of the cupboard. I'm like, we don't need that.
Well, I get worked up because like everybody in my house likes to stir stuff with a metal spoon, and like it's all got like that Teflon coating on there that if you just touch it, then it comes right off with the metal spoon, and then now you
Teflon's
gotta.
the worst.
Yeah, they're like you should never use it. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, I heard that it got banned for cooking use at like the federal level, and then what they did was they gave DuPont some allowance to continue to make it and produce products until they were able to come up with a new stream of income revenue to replace it. I'm like, that's like ban this crap. Like either ban it or don't. Don't put a label on it like they did cigarettes. Teflon is known to the state of California to cause cancer. Do not ingest, inhale, or otherwise consume this product.
Well, it's like we were talking earlier about like the different seed oil and stuff like that, but it's same thing as with microplastics too, right? So they're like Well, if you use the Teflon leaches off and gets in there. But you have all these like plastic things that you use in the microwave, and then like the
BPAs and yeah.
like my olive oil comes in a plastic bottle. I think we just get people worked up over stuff we probably shouldn't be worked up over.
Like the proper measurement of rice.
There we go.
Yeah. He's saying 20 minutes. I just guessed at 40. I don't know. Like I said, patience. I don't time it. It's ready when I'm ready. Yeah. Jim is rebooting the Whopper. Yeah. I can just imagine Jim's going to come back all red faced and sweating.
Right.
Yeah,
He was in the show early too, but
he
he's
was. And he
blaming the
was
mix.
fine until we hit the live button. This happens with StreamYard too. I don't know what it is, but it happens with StreamYard. You click the live button and the world changes.
Yeah, it
Ooh.
sure does. But
Chris,
also, we
tell us what you
sound different.
did. Yes, we sound different. We look different. Like the studio that we see is all crisp and clean, and then you guys get potato quality. And I've argued with them because we're paying customers of them, and they're like, "No, it's you. You're wrong." I'm like, "No, there's four of us, and all four of us can't be all doing the exact wrong things from four different states on four different platforms of four different types of hardware."
Only cheap olive oil comes in plastic bottles.
That's true. You only put A1 on. You don't put A1 on good steak. What's your line?
Right, that's what I was saying. I'm not sure what kind of olive oil it is.
Well, there's this whole olive oil conspiracy too. Like most of your olive oil isn't real olive oil.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna have to change the title to Field Day Cooking. We're just waiting for Jim to get back.
he said he had a document in the thing, but I looked and I couldn't find it.
Sort by date, maybe.
So
Look for something created 5 minutes before the stream.
he wants to talk about mobile radios, and I just got this thing.
Oh, nice. The 578. Yeah,
Yeah, the box came all jacked up though in the mail, but my
that's
mailman
new. Yeah,
is like a caveman or something like that. I haven't popped this thing open or taken a look at it yet, but it's obviously on the list of things to do. Some people say that it's kind of a problem because the screen is small. It's like
that's
1.9 inches or
actually
something.
what Jim said. The screen is small, and I'm like, he's been dealing. Never mind.
Did he
Like
have one of these?
it's sitting in his truck. I'm sure he hasn't taken it out since Hamcation.
Oh, hey Marvin.
I think
I
it's
don't.
actually the same size as the FTM 500. It's
Well,
just the layout.
um, it's the screen's almost the same as these,
Yeah,
right? Like the BTEC DMR 6X2 or 6X2 DMR. I can't remember, but I think
yeah,
it's
but
a.
you
I
can
think
hold that at the appropriate distance.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like for whatever reason, I feel like the screen size is not really going to be a problem for me. But you're right. The 500 has a pretty small screen on it as well. Temecula Dave says he's got the 578 with a remote Bluetooth mic.
I want that Bluetooth mic.
See, I don't know. I'd lose it.
Okay.
All right, it's fixed. I was like, that was the
It,
longest wait of my life.
dude, there was two Windows reboots and then the mixer rebooted. And I'm like, oh my God, of course you're
It
doing
better
this.
work after three reboots. Did you
Right.
get Windows updates in the middle?
No, thankfully that didn't happen. No, but the mixer, all the mixer firmware decided it had to update. And because it updated, my mics had to update. And I'm like, oh my God, you're killing me, Smalls.
Mm, mm, mm. It's
There's a
like
lot to
Chuck's
be
on the
said
stream.
for a manual mixer,
Right.
an XLR microphone, and an old Fender amp, and call it a day.
That's what I've got.
Anyway, hi, good morning. Where are we at? What have you guys talked about while I was gone for 10
Mostly
minutes?
food.
Right.
Okay.
But we need to stop talking about that because the chat's getting angry that we've deceived them with clickbait. We switched to Field Day Food. What is that? One of those Steel Reserve beers, eh?
No, it's Pellegrino
Oh
mineral
wow,
water.
your fancy pants water, your pissy
Oh,
pants water.
mineral water.
Right.
Does that go with your soy latte?
It's got electrolytes. It's got what apes crave.
Yeah,
Smart
I'm
water?
trying to get my minerals in.
It's good to have good minerals. So we're going to talk about mobile radios, and I still haven't shared that document where anybody can get to it except me. Let me try that again. And when we talk about mobile radios, there's a whole lot of stuff that you got to think about if you're interested in doing a mobile radio, right? So are you going to do VHF, UHF kind of stuff, or are you interested in
HF
HF as
or
well,
CB.
or or CB? I mean, it's radio and it's mobile. So anyway, there's a whole lot of considerations that you got to consider when you're talking about mobile radio.
Should always consider your considerations.
I know. I'm trying to click and talk at the same
Hey, you're
time, and
doing
it's
fine, man. You're doing fine.
Streaming's
okay.
hard.
It's on our G Drive ape 0308 mobile radios doc. It's sitting out there,
Guess I don't even know.
or Ape or Steve, whichever one of y'all.
No, my feelings are hurt. I need a new law passed by Congress that Jim should not hurt my feelings or transgressed. Every document should be
Right,
shared with everybody, private or not.
right. So one of the first things is the budget. And this becomes a big one because in looking at mobile radios, first of all, you've got the used and the new market, right? And I don't have a specific list of talking points here, so if you guys feel free to interject as we go along.
All right.
And you people in the chat, pay attention too, and
Damn it, I
drop
missed
your
it.
comments.
I have to be responsible for my own feelings again?
That's right. So the budget is the first one. Mobile radios have, I mean, a crazy
Huge.
range in price.
Hmm.
You can get a decent used 2 meter mobile rig for probably under $100 or darn close to 100 and a quarter. I bought a Yaesu 2880M or something like that from one of KE4RXM Tom. That radio's banging. 65 watts, 2 meters. It does the old wires X linky thing, which is irrelevant in 2025, especially in a car. But
Yeah, in a car.
you're right. But it's a damn good radio, and I've actually still got it. I need to sell it. I don't use it anymore. I've replaced it. But
So, did the Motorola bag phone have a data port on it so you could use it like a modem? I mean, how else are you getting Wires X in a car with a 2800 in 1965?
right. Well,
Well,
you know, it's
can't you
interesting.
link
It
to
did.
Wires X? You can't. I guess you have to have a computer with it, right? There's no way around it.
I tried linking it to YSF on my hotspot, and it wouldn't do it.
Well,
So,
but is it
but
wires?
that's YSF. Yeah, Wires X is different.
Right. So I've got radios that are UC radios that just have wires on them, which I don't think you need internet to
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
People
Well, actually,
people
I think
always
that's what
say
this one has is wires.
Yeah. People always say Yaesu's digital modes are easier, but you've got Wires X, System Fusion, and then C4FM. C4FM is the easy one. It's all the rest of them that complicates stuff.
Well,
Right.
the thing is like when you were saying this was going to be the show topic before the pandemic, when I would drive to work, I could listen to multiple repeaters every morning, and they were all filled with people talking and doing stuff. And when at lunch, if I went somewhere at lunch, I could turn my radio on and hear repeater traffic, and could hear repeater traffic on the way home. I don't hear any of it now.
Yeah, cell
None.
phones have replaced that. You just talk to your wife the whole way home.
Well, I think that the other part of it is that everybody's got hotspots now, and everybody's doing all this digital stuff via
Jim's got a
hotspots as
hotspot in
opposed.
the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I used to have a hotspot in the Jeep, but I don't really like digital that much. I used to really like it. I don't really like it that much anymore.
Is it digital or is it the people?
Well,
Let's be honest.
it was funny because I was talking to Thump this morning, and he was saying how Brandmeister is mostly dead now. And look, man, if you're watching and you're a Brandmeister admin, I'm sorry
They
up
did
front.
that to themselves.
They sure
Yeah,
shit
they
did.
did.
And
Bitter.
if
Them.
somebody was having a
Which
problem,
that
they
makes
would
me
just
bitter.
ban you, right? Instead of saying, "Hey, bro, what kind of problem are you having?" and maybe I can help you through it. They would just assume, and I'm sure there are plenty of jackwagons out there that would, you know, set up loops and all that other crazy stuff. But so I don't think that's a very popular network anymore. But the thing is that with the most of the hotspots, like you can use the Fusion radios on DMR, and you can use the DMR radios on Fusion. I'm not sure how D-Star plays in all that, but I just think that somebody's saying BM's crap in there. I think the digital stuff killed local repeaters is my perspective on that.
I agree. Possibly. I mean, there's a large subset of those people that are never going to do digital. It may have.
Right.
Honestly, that's kind of why I got two radios in my truck now. Yes, I'm a nerd.
One
What do
I
you
one for
have in
digital,
there?
one for analog.
I do. I have a 500 that we got at that I got at Dayton, and then right now
$878,
I've got an 578. I've got a
578.
578 Anytone, which is going to get out of there because while the radio works fine, the screen is so dang small you can't hardly see it. So the Yaesu is
Jim,
on.
I bought this because you were saying how great it was. I
It
spent
is.
like $400 on it.
Well, it
Oh
still is a
man,
great radio.
I'm starting to see red.
I, it is a great radio.
I'm just kidding. I got set it.
I can't seize it in the truck with the sunlight out. I mean, I like literally
You
have to take
sound
off
like
my
Don.
sunglasses and put my face over there in front of it to
Get
read
one
the
of those,
screen. I need
three-sided shades.
a
Keep the
Fresnel
sun.
lens or something on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
and while you're doing that, you might as well put like one of those magnifying things on it too.
that's
Yeah.
I
Fresnel.
should get one of
Yeah,
those for my
No,
car.
no,
Like
I was saying one to block the sunlight, and then the other one to magnify the screen.
yeah.
what your grandpa would have like on the arm of his easy chair, like that big magnify. Like that's the best idea I think I've heard in a while. Is that one of those for the car would be? Well, I might have to do that.
I mean, the Anytone is a good radio, and I don't remember. I don't know what they cost off the top of my head, but that's a dual band UHF VHF.
Yeah,
It's
this one's a
DMR
this one's tri-bander.
tri-band.
Yeah,
You need to drink some more Miller Lite over there, Abe.
Yeah,
I wish I was.
your ML is low. Well, listen,
Today's the day
it's
that Abe
also
dies on stream.
the beauty about the Anytone is it's also USB capable programmable. It's a straight up USB cable.
Well,
That's it.
they're some of the easiest UHF VHF radios to program from the keypad that I've ever used in my life.
Yeah, it is.
Well, so look, when I started feeling real sick last night, I broke out to some of the rabbit hole. Now there was more in it than
It was
this.
full.
It wasn't full, but there was more in it than that. But I
Thought
was
that
like,
was a Purell for a minute.
no, I was like, you know what? Alcohol
Same
kills
difference.
germs,
It does.
and I'm going to just try to cure this stuff the old-fashioned way. And
See, anytime Abe talks about Chuck hitting the brown liquor, it's really just deflection.
well, I don't drink the brown liquor nearly as much as I did when I was a younger man. But every now and then, I like a nice glass of bourbon.
Me too. I don't
I
drink.
don't.
I don't
I
drink
agree.
hardly at all. But
I
when
mean,
I
I
do
like
drink,
it, but y'all would hate me.
I drink brown liquor, but not much. So anyway, budget is the big consideration. Are you going to buy a used radio for 100, 100 and a quarter? Or are you going to go out all out and buy a new radio? And if you look at prices on these things,
It's crazy.
so
See,
Ape,
that
if you
would
could,
be
there's some
nice.
links in there in that document. If you go, or Steve, whoever's got it pulled up.
No, you said Ape. I'm still hurt
Yeah,
from the
but see,
last time you screwed me over.
I only have one screen. We're gonna have to have Tio do this. I'm
All
not
right,
good at
Tio.
it.
All right, hang on.
I guess we'll have to go with the second team, Ape. I'm sorry.
All right, so you want me to pull up this? I'll just do links in order.
The problem is that some of these mobile radios are $500. You know what I mean?
Oh, they're more than that. Yeah. Well, for example, we're kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but one of them that I was looking at is the Kenwood, the new Kenwood that's coming out, the D750. I'm betting that thing is $800 if it's a penny.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm gonna grab a little mobile I got sitting over here. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So why is this thing $310? Like
See,
that's part of the problem.
well, what's even more interesting about that's the 2370A. So the 2370B is now out, and guess how much it costs?
Probably 500.
$349, I think, maybe
Oh, $50 more
329
for a color screen. $50
for a,
more for a color screen that cost them $3, by the way.
yes. But it's also a newer model, so it may have upgraded firmware, upgraded chipset, I don't know. But yeah, pull up the 2370B if you would, Tio,
Sure.
please. Pretend I'm saying please every time.
No, you have to say it after the transgressions from
Courtesy
before.
is implied. I was in the fire department. We don't talk that way.
Oh, you didn't make a link. Ah,
Yeah, that's why
Jesus, Jim.
thought you just type 2370B in the search
No,
bar
I
there.
just kind of thought you were prepared. Hold on.
I am prepared.
2730B. Prepared to tell me what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's preparation, ain't it? That's the black
Preparation H.
edition.
It looks good. I like it. I would actually, unfortunately, yes, they've got me. I would spend $50 more. If it was a choice between the A and B model, I would pop the extra 50.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
But
looks good.
is there anything else besides the color, the black and color screen?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. They both have about the same specs.
I mean, this is probably $50 worth of parts after, 100 years worth of development of ham radio.
Right. I mean,
Well,
they both have
apparently the
detachable
A,
heads.
apparently the A can be hacked to do the black screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what people were telling me. I posted a picture of that when it was coming out on Twitter, and
Well, if it's
people were,
only black, yeah, you take the filter off the LCD and flip it over.
Hmm. But so this is a name brand. This is a name brand radio. This is UHF, VHF. I think it does crossband, and I believe this is also full frontal duplex as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't quote me on all the features, but so then you compare this to something like the 5100. And Tio, there's a link there, so you can click it.
That one there was. Yeah, I can, if I can find my mouse. There we go. I can click that one. Yeah.
So that's $120 more, and you have VHF, UHF, D Star, and HF. And I believe that's a 100-watt radio.
I think it's 50.
50? Okay.
No,
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it was 100.
I've got one of those that I traded to Thump. I traded him a G90
Oh, wait, that's a
for it.
5100. I had a brain fart. I was thinking 7100 while I was looking at that.
I'm
Yeah,
not even
that's
sure if the 7100 is 100 watts on 2 meters. This is
not on
funny.
2 meters on HF. I'm sure it is. But
It
yeah,
is on
that's
HF until
yeah.
it locks itself up when you have to do a software reset multiple times.
So
'Cause they
that guy
can't fix
adds
their
in
firmware. I'm not bitter.
yeah, that guy adds in D Star for $120 more. I've had one. Apes had one. I hate the screen on it.
I've never
This
even
is
powered it
bad.
up.
This is
I've-
bad compared to the 7100 screen. Just putting that on the table.
And Steve
But
has experience with that one. I've never seen a 7100, so I don't know.
but this one that I have, it's been sitting in the box for like 3 years.
It is touchscreen.
Is that
I've never
mine?
even
Didn't
fooled
we?
with it.
Wasn't that a
No.
three-way ape thump?
Oh, a three-way, yeah.
It could have been. I don't know. He's
I
in
don't
chat.
remember. Yeah, there was a lot of horse trading.
But this is this was the first mobile radio that I bought,
Hold on. That's so small. I gotta solo you. Go ahead. I'll do it.
and it's a dual bander, and it's made by a company called Juntai. But you can see it's like the size of your hand. It's 25 watts. I think another company made these or sold the exact same radio
It looks like
as
an
well.
Anytone mic.
Yeah,
It's not. It's definitely not an any tone. But this thing was
No, the mic.
yeah. This thing is super difficult to program from the interface. It's worse than a Baofeng, and even the CPS was terrible. It's now chirp programmable, but I haven't used it. I used this thing for like 2 or 3 years in my car, and the reason I got it is because it's so small. And what I did is it's off it now, but I put like that industrial Velcro on here and some industrial Velcro on my console and stuck it on there, and it never ever came off. But when I use this, and it's probably dirty as heck, I've never even tested it.
So it's dirty just looking at it.
Yeah,
Should have cleaned
right. But it had. I mean, I got great signal reports. I talked on it every day and had zero problems with it. But it was $70. That's the thing. Is like, if I was just going to talk on my local repeater, and I really wasn't concerned about GPS and digital modes and all that kind of stuff, I'd be hard pressed to not get something like this. Being honest with you, I mean, for
Yeah.
$70, man.
Well, that's the Baofeng problem.
and APRS too. That was the other one. APRS. Yeah,
Right.
That's another factor.
Baofengs are so cheap. Like it's like a candy bar at the checkout lane at the grocery
It's an
store.
impulse buy. Yeah, absolutely. And when you say Baofeng, you almost got to throw in there not any tone, but maybe some of the Redivis models, and
But like, this is perfect for like a Go Box scenario or something like that.
absolutely,
Because of size.
yeah. So the budget is a thing. VHF, UHF, HF, which kind of takes you into a different ballpark. That puts you into completely different territory. But digital voice, I talked about. If you want D-Star Fusion or DMR, then that's another feature that you're going to not find so much in older radios, but stuff that's less than 10 years old may have. It depends on the radio and the brand. Another thing that can get you is, do you require a duplexer for the hind end of your radio? So does it have a separate UHF and VHF output, or is it just one?
What about that Anytone that you have in your truck? Does that have two of them, or do you need a duplexer?
Nope, just one. Just one.
So tell us why we need a duplexer on a dual bander, because we have
Well-
dual band antennas.
Yeah, and
It's a tri-bander though.
so I don't know if I have a good example here I can actually move without Spending 10 minutes disconnecting wires. Hang on.
So Bryant, real quick, I hate to do this because I love Euro, but they're coming out with an N7600 real soon now. So if you're on the fence, wait just a little bit longer. I hate it when they do that. Go ahead, Jim.
So this is an 857D, and this has an HF port and a not HF port.
So you
VHF,
said
UHF.
VHF, UHF dual port. That's why I was asking that question. I get
It de-
this.
it depends on the radio. It depends on the radio. Typically, and I haven't seen that on most mobiles, but like on a HF radio, a desktop size radio, there probably is a separate VHF and UHF port. It's not a thing to worry about. Just check the backside. Have you got one antenna port or two? And if you got two, you're going to need a duplexer of some sort, assuming HF is not in play on that particular radio. On the 857, it's HF and it's VU on the other one, and that's it. Go with God. And if you have an antenna that's 440, 1.25, whatever, it's all good. So it's a consideration, something you may need to look at. I've never seen one. I don't know that there is or is not a mobile one that has separate ports, but something to think about. And if you're running a mobile radio in a home environment, you may have to get a duplexer because you have a separate UHF antenna and a separate VHF antenna for a reason. And I think one of our people, Jonathan, I believe, is doing that at his place because he has separate 2-meter and 70-centimeter antennas. In a car scenario, it's probably not as big of a deal, but something to consider. Another thing to look at is the radio full duplex or not? And that may or may not mean anything to you. You may not care. If you're going to use it in a satellite situation, you want a radio that's full duplex.
Well, like some of
What's
these full duplex radios, though, get desensitized when you
possibility?
transmit
Yep.
on one band and not if you have one VFO set to 2 meters and one set to 70 centimeters, they can desense each other.
Yep. And that's a function of how much power you're putting out and how good the radio is too. What
Yeah.
one of the handheld, I can't remember which one, the orange one, the KGU V9 Mate or something like that.
Oh yeah, the
Hamstick has an
Oshon.
opinion on that. Yeah,
He's
the
got an opinion on
Woshon.
everything.
He does.
Yeah.
Bless his
But I
heart.
mean, that's a ham thing though. So
Right. 14 hams and 75 opinions. That's right. But like I believe it had desense problems too. It was kind of a thing, is what I remember Hamstick talking about one time because he had played with it a bunch. He had one and said that was the problem he was having. So that's a consideration. And if you don't need full duplex, if you're putting this in your vehicle, you don't really need full duplex unless you're going to work satellites from your vehicle while you're driving.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't see why you would really need it unless you were doing
yeah,
satellite work, but maybe I
yeah.
don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I agree with you. That's absolutely right. Unless you plan to do satellites, full duplex doesn't do you any good, really. A
A
lot
lot of
of these
people,
mobiles, go ahead.
I would say a lot of people are talking about that's not the one. Here it is, the DB25 and then the Yaesu 150 ASP. I really like that Yaesu 150. But it's pretty expensive. Isn't it like $375 or something
I
like that?
believe there's a link for that in the document, Steve.
I believe I'm ahead of y'all.
Oh
You
wow,
are the man.
419.
I'm going to get the icon before I
This is
buy that one.
this is way too expensive
I'm
for
like,
yeah.
and I don't believe that does. No, it doesn't. That doesn't do C4 FM either for
No, this is just audio.
$419. Yeah, FM audio.
But see, that's what I would prefer to be honest with you. But if there was more traffic, but I still have the 7900 in my Jeep, the Yaesu 7900, and that thing is old as heck, but it is super duper rock solid. I want to put the 500 in there.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a.
Where's your
Well,
500 at?
it's on the ham bench down in the basement still.
So to me, this is the modern FT 8800, which there's nothing wrong with that radio still today. And if you look, Yaesu's got this thing where they actually got smart, but they didn't pass the savings on to you. This body is the same for the 200, 300, 500, and now the 150, the 6000. Those are just the ones I can name off the top of my head.
It's the same chassis for all of
Same
them.
exact chassis, same mobile mounting bracket, same microphone. So like good for you, but that should make this radio about 220, not 420.
Right.
Well, what's nice about that radio is that it has the microphone port on the head, and
Yeah, definitely.
that's a huge plus.
That is, and the same with the 500 is there's only one
They
cable
learned.
coming from the radio body, because that was my biggest complaint with the
Thanks,
400
Mike.
is that you have two
380 is
cables.
still expensive.
This is my Yaesu whatever this
It's
is,
2800.
2800 I think. So this is a straight up 2 meter rig. That's all this does.
I have
And then
one. It's fantastic radio.
I mean
Is that
it's
a
built like
wires
a
button on the front of it too, or what is that extra?
yeah. It's a wires button for the repeater interlink stuff. Which I have no idea how that actually works. So on the back side, you've got power, external speaker jack, and then the antenna thing. And I mean, the heat sink on this thing, there's more heat sink than there is actual electronics on this.
That's most of the radios, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
this
it does
thing
80 watts, right? Which is huge.
65 on this guy.
Oh, right. The 2880 is the one that does 80. But
Oh,
that radio right there is what I have right here. And I used to go on the 2 meter repeaters all the time and always got, wow, man, that radio sounds great. What do everybody would ask me.
Oh yeah, full quiet. Yeah, and it's a smoking radio, and I had it on the dashboard of the truck after I went through that CB nonsense and got rid of that thing. I bought that one from Tom for 125. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a beast. It's never going to break. I mean, 1,000 years from now, archaeologists will dig it up and go, "Hey, it still works." And that's not a Yaesu endorsement necessarily, but that
right.
radio is just built like a freaking
So
tank.
so why buy any modern day mobile radio? This is a conversation that we have all the time. Like, there's a new shiny radio out today, and it has absolutely no new features. The
Yeah, I got
Well,
one
the
more
thing,
thing to grab. Hold, keep talking. You're
yeah,
good.
no, I agree with you, Tio. Like, you can get nice used Yaesu mobile radios. Like I said, I'm still using 7900 in my Jeep, and that thing's probably a 15-year-old design.
Mhm.
Unless you need digital modes, and need is something that we get all worked up over. Like, unless you need APRS,
right, Elsie.
if you're just going to talk on 5 or 6 local repeaters, just buy a used radio for $150 and have at it.
Yeah. There's got to be more to APRS than just beaconing my location to everybody that doesn't care.
So
I know there is. It was a rhetorical statement.
this was the Hamfest buy that To made me get,
I did.
and
Hold a gun to his head and everything.
one of the Kenwoods. Well, I was already close, and To enabled me. He just pushed me over the edge. So this was 350 for this 710, and this is a dual band, and I think it does cross band, and I believe it may be full duplex as well. I don't remember, but 350, and this is arguably as good of a radio as that RASP, because I doubt that any audiophile ham in a mobile environment is going to notice the difference in audio, assuming
Over
the
the wind
speaker
noise.
Well,
over
if
the
you have the
wind
wind
noise.
noise and you're not grounded right, probably, and your
And
antenna's, you know,
yeah, yeah, are you really going to notice? Yes, if you put the audio outputs on an oscilloscope, I'm sure the Yaesu, will fold space like a third stage Guild Navigator or something. But I mean, this is like what, a 15-ish year old radio, something like that.
and would you pay for that?
350.
That's
And
because
I
it's
got the
Kenwood.
weird data cables and the mic
Yep.
and the stand and
And the
all
original box, a little weathered,
all the
but
original box was. I mean, that was $100 of this
that was the
purchase
first
too.
thing that he tossed too. Didn't even make the trip home.
You didn't
That
keep the
is
box?
that is not true, son.
Oh, shoo.
Not true. You shut up your big mouth, To. So, I mean, when I'm looking at $300, and here's the comparison I wanted to make with that guy. That's 350 for a Kenwood of indeterminate provenance, right? And it does work, and it's got full power. I did a video on it. I'm happy with it. The ICOM, the 2370B, sexy as hell. I want it. Doesn't do anything more that one doesn't do, other than it's newer and shinier.
Right,
Are
right.
you selling or buying, James?
That's a good price if you're buying one, but
I
be
think he's
advised
trying
you
to
got
buy
two
yours.
cables.
I
Oh,
think he's
mine's
trying to
been
buy
gone.
yours.
So I remember when those 400s got super popular, and
Mm-hmm.
Yaesu was actually having a deal when they were selling those. They were with their repeater, the Fusion repeaters, and a lot of repeaters were converting to Fusion because they were getting them so cheap, and everybody was buying those radios. When that happened, people were beaconing APRS around here like crazy on repeater frequencies because they didn't have them configured correctly to beacon on the, I can't remember what it is. Like, was it 144, 380 or something like that on the
39,
APR?
144, 390. You're close.
And because they didn't have it configured correctly. So like the whole time somebody's talking on the repeater, when they stop, you would hear APRS coming out. And people would get all upset at them.
Well, and we talked about this the other day, and I did it. Steve showed me the light and love of our Lord and Savior APRS, how to use it correctly, because I didn't realize on the 400 that it was tied specifically to the
B
BVFO.
channel, yeah.
Yeah, so when you change the B channel to something else on the 400, it's still blasting out APRS on whatever you're on.
If you're still running it, yeah, and tons of people were doing that.
And it still it happened at the last couple Hamfests we've been at. So.
I said, Jim, you big dummy.
I just don't get. I mean, I get that it's cool to mess with and stuff like that, but I just don't get the APRs
If
being
you
a hard requirement for so many people.
if you do well, so there's two problems. Number one is most radios don't do full APRS. They do beacon only or stored
Sure.
stored replies, so they're kind of like crippled to begin with. But what you can do if you do it right is I can beacon so that my local repeater knows who I am, and that local repeater is an iGate connected to the internet. And my buddy Hayden in Australia can beacon so his local repeater, which is an iGate, knows where he is, and then we can text message back and forth across the planet over APRS with that backhaul, or without the backhaul if there was a solid enough digipeater network. But that's the cool part about it is worldwide communications.
Well, because the radios have such great keyboards on them. I can see why you'd want to do that.
Well, this
Now,
is a developmental issue. There should be high quality, usable, modern day radios
effing
that compete with
programmers, that's right.
Androids
Yeah,
and
I
iPhones,
don't.
but there isn't.
Yeah, I don't dispute that there's some utility there. Like if I did more stuff like when I was younger with all the camping and the hiking and all that stuff, I probably would be more of a proponent of APRS. But most of the guys that sit there and be like, I'm not going to buy that HT because it doesn't have APRS, don't leave their basement. You know what I
Don,
mean?
They have no
Don,
friends.
Don. Yeah, and APRS is a thing, and To and I have talked about this. You just mentioned it. The interface is god awful on a lot of radios, no matter who makes the radio. Yesu, I'm looking at you. I've never APRS'd on an ICOM, but
Well, I
Yesu's
did a
Well, you
video.
interface
can't.
on.
You can't APRS on an
Oh,
icon.
that's right, because it's DPRS or something.
DPRS. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a video where I bought an APRS audio cable for like $9, and I connected it to my Android tablet and a Baofeng. Right, and the Baofeng was like $19, and the Android tablet was like the Tab A. That was like $70 on Amazon. Less than $100. I was using an APRS Droid, which has the full keyboard and all that stuff. I did a video on it, and it worked fantastically well. But a couple times I went camping, I set it up and play around with it, but then I just never really did anything with it.
Well, and somebody just made the comment. Where did it go? Should be able to use a Bluetooth keyboard. There it is, Chris.
Yep.
Duh. I mean, and I don't mean duh at you. I mean duh at the radio manufacturers. Bluetooth has been around for what, 20 years now, at least?
At least.
And now we have Bluetooth Low Energy, Bluetooth 5. I don't know if that's better. I don't really care about Bluetooth that much unless it's my phone or my tunes or I'm listening to YouTube at work so the boss doesn't know I'm listening to ham radio crap. But, I mean, everybody's had Bluetooth forever. Anytone has Bluetooth microphones. Vero, and somebody's mentioned the N7500 mobile radio.
Hmm.
And beautiful radio. Does a lot of cool stuff. Completely headless. Completely. You can drive the whole thing. They have a Bluetooth mic, wireless. You can drive the radio with the app, just like the N76 HT or the BTEC UV Pro. And I mean, yeah. Why would you not use something with the Bluetooth keyboard for APRS when lower and second tier, not trying to crap on you, Vero, when a second tier manufacturer, not an ICOM or whoever, can throw in a complete Bluetooth interface and a friggin' app to drive the thing, why the hell is ICOM and Yaesu and Kenwood not doing it? Now, that being said, according to KM4ACK, who I consider to be quite an authority on APRS, Kenwood has by far the best APRS interface on their radios.
Yeah, the D74, 75. Like if I was a real APRS nerd, that would be the one that I would get. But
I
you
see
know, you're
that
looking at
cornbread.
600, $700 for an HT just to do APRS.
Yeah.
I'm not that big of an APRS nerd. But like one of the things is like with hams, and we love hams. They will go ad nauseum about, does it have Bluetooth? Does it have APRS? Does it have crossband repeat? Does it have full frontal duplex? And all these other things, and then bitch about the price. Now, I get that some of the Chinese manufacturers put a lot of that stuff in their
Yes.
radios, and then they get it at a lower price point. But I don't, I would worry about my house burning down with some of those radios.
And
They've
Matt,
given us the
I
oldest
started this
technology.
comment when you put it up there a long time ago to come back to, but yes, absolutely, that's on Matt's step one. Is
Hmm.
See,
does it?
I could care less about that.
I don't. I'm not that into it because, like Ape is, I'm not an APRS junkie about sending messages and all that.
Modern cars have Bluetooth hands-free audio built in. Wouldn't it be nice to
Link
do
your
that with your
radio to
ham
your car.
radio like you would
Yeah,
with your phone?
I mean, I think that's a good feature. It would be cool.
But but you're probably the same people who complain about people who use Vox on HF,
Mm.
right? And right. So I
Over the
mean,
airwaves.
I'd like the idea of a hand mic and push to talk. That's just me, but I don't want Bluetooth on my. To me, that's like one of the least important things that I can imagine.
Well, and this goes back to one of the first things that I meant to say is what's your requirements for a mobile radio? So obviously with you, Ape, don't care about Bluetooth, not much of an APRS guy. So your requirements are a lot more straightforward.
100%, Matt. I totally get it.
And that's a whole nother can of worms right there too, Matt, because I'm not hands free on my radios, but
Well,
Alabama says I have to be hands free on my phone. So
what about do you have a governor on your car that keeps you going the appropriate speed limit because that's a requirement, right? You know,
no.
right.
And we removed him out of the fire truck.
No,
Just saying.
in my state, you're not supposed to drive around
A
talking on
governor and a
cell.
fire truck.
Yes.
You're not
Could only
supposed to
go
talk around on a cell phone,
65.
but everybody's like, is
Yes.
there
Right.
This is hands-free.
Hands
This
free
is
driving. That's
hands-on.
right.
I love when people talk like this because that means they ain't listening. You have
Right.
two ears and
right,
one mouth. That
right.
means you should listen twice as much as you talk.
Right.
I don't get some of that stuff.
All- You're killing
Got
me.
him.
I'm dying. All right. A remote head may be another consideration. And this is a big one too, because depending on the layout in your car, there may not be a good place to mount a radio.
If you have a
And
car from the '70s, you mount anything you want in there. But
you can mount a
Anywhere.
full size Kenwood TS 2000 on the dashboard. You got
They
room.
actually
Yeah.
had a mobile mount for the 570.
Yeah. I mean,
but cars today, you kind of get press fit in there, like a package from China. Like
Yeah.
right.
you get in there, your steering wheel. And I hate it.
Right. I mean, I drive an F-150 pickup truck, and there's still not a tremendous amount of room,
You
like
are
under
of a
the.
certain stature though, Jim.
Not
You're
anymore,
not
son.
skinny like me.
I'm not skinny like you. I eat. You're
There's plenty of room left in that truck for me.
But like in my Jeep, the console was sardine packed tight. Like mounting
yes,
stuff
that's
in
what I'm
there
talking about.
is next to impossible. So I do like well, either that's teeny tiny radio that I was showing you earlier, or remote head. But
You
I
know,
want
if
the mic mount on the head because I don't want to run a mic all the way to wherever.
I've said this before, but if only they took and made the mobile
Exactly,
radios
Matt.
DIN size, double DIN size, car adapter kit friendly, and like usable
Hmm.
as a consumer radio device. And then you could put it in the dashboard of the car, and whoever drives your car could listen to their favorite FM radio station, and you could do your ham radio stuff. Nah, let's not make radios like car radios. Nah.
Chris, that is so true. Yes, people driving with a dog in their lap or something. I'm
I
like, you're
saw a
crazy.
guy driving playing an acoustic guitar.
While he was driving.
Yep, we were sitting in traffic. It was stop and go and all this stuff, and he's sitting there picking and a grinning. And I was
I
like,
saw
what the?
somebody eating fried chicken while driving.
I
Like
might
not
be
chicken
guilty of that.
fingers, bone in fried chicken
I might be guilty of that.
from the Colonel.
Maybe. I'll eat Taco Bell while I drive. Absolutely.
Oh, that's even worse. Unless it's
Well,
Not
that
free.
stuff's a
Slotsky, not
mess.
Slotskys though. I can't eat Slotskys while I drive. That crap all comes out the backside and ends up
Yeah, you gotta be
everywhere.
careful.
Um,
But radios
so
are older than laptops.
have we pulled up the 150? What about the 510?
We
That was the
did the
other one that's on our
150.
list.
Let me see, 510. Yep, I had the 510 a while ago.
You had a 510 or 500?
I have a 500. I've same one you have. We got them at Dayton.
Yeah, this one
Yeah.
just came out this year. And this is
Okay.
another problem. Like,
$750.
yeah.
Now
No,
this does C4
Yikes.
FM.
this does everything your radio does that you already have, and it adds the ASP functionality, which, by the way, was a technology that TI invented back in the
80s,
early 90s, the
70s.
late
I
80s.
don't
Yeah.
remember whenever. Yeah.
Good thing
See,
it finally came to ham radio 2 years ago.
I didn't pay that much for my 500.
No, neither one of us did. We paid 350 because they were on special or whatever at Hamfest.
Right,
Didn't
and
you get
here's
yours
the other thing.
at
Like,
Dayton?
I ordered it while we were at Dayton to get the
Okay.
to get the Dayton price. And look, man, like I get that the digital noise suppression and all that stuff is cool, but like I said, I'm driving around in a Jeep and the road noise is incredibly high. Like
Right.
it's not important to me. And if I can't hear somebody, I'm okay not talking to them as well.
Yeah, yeah.
You,
It
you
ain't
know what I
that
mean? Like
important.
I'm not like holy shit. Like, let me pull the car over. Let's see if we can dial this guy in. He's about to
Nope.
tell me some important stuff about his personal health. I
Right. Or
just
start screwing with your squelch while you're driving. I got to hear
yeah,
this. I've got to
man.
hear this.
Right. It just doesn't. It's just not important to me. Maybe I'm a curmudgeon, but that's just
A little bit, but you're a lovable curmudgeon, more or
yeah.
less.
I just don't. To me, it's just one more layer of complexity that I just would rather ignore.
I, Hollywood says he has the 500D and he thinks the audio is terrible. His scanner sounds better. I don't know, Hollywood. I mean, I have the 500 and it's a huge upgrade from a 400, and maybe that's just a relative thing, but TO
Yeah.
It's
answer,
a
I
pretty
don't.
nice radio if
Yeah,
you ask
so
me.
Oh,
what
I agree. It
ASP
is.
is, remember the old FT100D from the 90s that has DNR, or the FT891 that has the noise reduction, digital noise reduction, or any radio that has some type of audio processing, audio filtering? They finally added it to 2 meter, 70 centimeter mobile radios. That's what ASP is. It's like audio signal processing or active signal processing or
Something
something
like that.
along those lines. But again, it's a technology that was invented, DSP technology, way back when. It's just
Well,
audio processing.
most of the sound quieting that you see in radios is just an attenuator, right? And what it does is it lowers everything, your signal and your noise floor. It doesn't do anything about improving your signal to noise ratio.
Correct. It takes the signal that you're already receiving and tries to remove some of the harsh out of it.
By lowering everything. Like it pulls it all down.
So our buddy Doug, N4H&H, I think has a video on this
Emmett
where
Crunk.
if you take the, like on your 7300 that you have, if you
Mm,
start turning on the filter and you turn the filter up, it starts to get like watery sounding, like you're
mm.
underwater kind of thing. If you take the RF gain and you take the attenuator and you play with all three of those things at once, before the guy having the QSO disappears off the air and goes on and, like makes dinner or something, you can get a really ridiculously clean audio signal that's not underwater. But you have to ride all three of those controls in order to do it.
Yeah, but what you want to do is that you want to get the noise below your noise floor while the signal still is above it. The RF gain and the attenuator, they don't change your dynamic range of the signal that you're receiving.
Right.
And so it's kind of it works. It works well. Obviously, they've had radio forever, but it's not really isolation of the signal.
No, what you're trying to do is, like you said, remove as much of the noise as you can mechanically and then remove the
Right.
rest of it digitally.
But I don't know how well that works with the ASP. Like, cause
Not
I
enough
said
knobs.
I did a video and I was talking about it coming out in the newer the 150 RSP RASP, and somebody was like, "Well, your 500 has that," and I was like, "I don't remember ever messing with that on the 500." And apparently, it didn't have it because they just came out with the 510 that
Right.
does.
RASP. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me. That's all I think of when I hear that. I know it's not the right spelling.
I was looking for, and we're talking about expensive radios, and I'm trying to get something that gives a little bit of information because there's not bloody much about it. But Kenwood is coming out with the new one.
Yeah,
The
it's only $35. Oh wait, that's the reservation.
That's the reservation fee there,
That is pretty
Bubby.
slick looking.
I'm expecting this to be over $1,000. If the
I
handheld is 800, they have no choice but to make the mobile,
I didn't.
which should be better,
I was
more
I
money.
was gonna I was saying 800 if it was a penny, but you're exactly right. With the D75 being as expensive as it
Well, this is
is,
just a mobile D75, right?
yes,
It's even the same screen. It's just a bigger screen. I mean, it's the same layout, same
this is
information.
this
And it's
does.
50 watts probably.
Nice, Chris.
To is it? Can you see the? Can you plus that up, son?
Do we have any specifications? Have they been leaked yet?
Not
Or are we
much. That's what I
speculating on
was.
specifications? I'd assume 50. Yeah, nothing.
Let's try this
Wow.
page
Well,
here.
here's the thing. Like this is the
Surprised there's
thing
no
that
reviews.
a photo of this thing got leaked like a year ago,
Yep.
and whoever took the photo was probably using one of those APRS Android phones. Do you know what I'm talking about? Instead of like an Apple
Potato.
phone,
Yeah.
so it looked like a washed out white screen. And do you remember all the ham tubers who were just like, I just don't see the point of buying a screen in today's day and age? That screen looks great.
It does look good.
It has powerful voice guidance,
Well, there you go.
4-step variable speed, and over 900 phrases. I want to teach it to talk dirty to me.
900 phrases or 900 phones?
900 phrases.
Okay. Yeah.
900 phrases. Big dummy.
Right?
I don't see this web page says the same thing the picture says. I haven't seen anything that really.
I'm going to assume it's 50 watts at least. If they didn't make it 50 watts, they'd be stupid.
But see,
Yeah,
like
I agree.
for mobile though, like I just when I'm driving, I just want to change a channel and push to talk. I don't want to mess with other settings. So I wonder how in depth this menu is because when the handheld, like the numerical keypad, each one of those has like 9 different functions.
Yep. Yep.
It's like you have to do a control shift tab, space, then push the button twice, long press on the third press. You know what I mean? Like I just don't want to do that while I'm driving.
I've got to make a guilty confession. I have not made a reservation yet. I want that radio because it looks just super cool.
Looks is important.
But
Not
dang,
going to lie.
I,
$1,000? They
the
better do
ICOM,
sideband.
What could come
the
out
only
$1,200, right?
I mean, it could be a 705 killer, right? I
But
don't
it's
know.
just UHF VHF though, right? It's not HF,
Yeah.
or is it?
No, that's true. That's
It's
just
not
it's
HF.
just UV, and it
What
is
do you
full
think the
duplex
Yaesu
and
is going to
crossband.
cost? The FX, whatever is the
Every letter in
DFX1.
the alphabet, but there's only 3 letters in the alphabet.
Yeah,
FTX-1F.
999, 1100 somewhere in there.
Oh, no, I'm thinking 14 easy.
You think?
I'm thinking it might even be more than the 705.
Just one, Paul.
That 710 is getting scarily close to base station radio type. Add SSB, and you've got a base station. Because I bet it already has cat control and digital interface and stuff like
What's
that.
that? What's 710?
The Kenwood that we just showed, 750, sorry. The
750.
Kenwood 710 already had all of those features. The
Yeah, the
750
710 is
adds
the one I
color
was showing you.
screen.
Yeah, it's got like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and all that stuff,
Yep.
which is it is pretty awesome when a radio has that. I mean, I complain like when people want it on an HT, but on the 705, I love having that.
And see where I am is when we went to Orlando, I was primed to buy the 2370B, which
Yeah, you
Crunk has
were.
already bought because damn it, Crunk. So, but it wasn't released. It wasn't out available when we were at Orlando, so I didn't buy it. And then I stumbled across this Kenwood, and I'm like, "Ah, that's cool," because I wanted to get rid of the any tone off the dashboard because I can't see the screen. So now I've got this beautiful Kenwood, but I can buy a brand new ICOM with the black screen for the same money I paid for this. What am I going to do with this one? So now I have that quandary, plus which I have the little demon on the side of my shoulder telling me, wait for the Kenwood, wait for the Kenwood. You're a big time YouTuber. You need the Kenwood.
You know you're going to have both, though.
Well, the thing is that every
That
radio
was, yeah.
there's a reason to hate it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so you get this radio that you're looking forward to, you get it, and for some reason, I just can't use it because of this one feature.
Right. Ken Lewis, yes, Ken, I've had, I don't know how many radios, and I've sold, I don't know how many radios, and I've got at least one right now that I need to take pictures of and post in the chat, and that's that Yaesu I just showed you guys a little while ago, because I have no use for it. Also have an Anytone I have no use for.
Yeah,
But
I've got stacks of radios. I should sell it.
yeah, I mean, it's like I would
Dayton.
like to pass it on to somebody who can use it. There's nothing wrong with any of them. It's just they don't fit my needs anymore. And I think, how are we on time?
Plenty.
Yeah, I think that's
Abe
one
can
of the
go pee
biggest
and come
things.
back.
Right. Well, I mean, I took a break. Abe can take one. Abe's sickly though. He could
Yeah.
pass on us at any moment.
Yeah. So watch the stream. We're gonna live stream until Abe dies.
I think that's the biggest thing though. Is what is your mission parameters for putting a mobile radio in your vehicle? And I don't think that I am ever going to feel comfortable messing with HF in the truck a lot. I don't know. We'll see. I've got an ATAS now because I bought
Yeah.
one from Iowa Andy.
Yeah, because you stole it
I'll
out from
DM
underneath
you
of me.
Liberty Cave. I don't
Yes,
remember.
So I can see a point for having an HF radio mounted in the car. If you do Parks on the Air, you just show up,
Oh yeah,
eat your
right.
Taco Bell at lunch and make a quick POTA activation. You can get
Hell
your repeat
yeah.
offender award. You can get a kilo, and you don't have to get out of the air conditioning. I get all that.
You're trying
But
to make me do POTA is what you're trying to do. I see what
what,
you're doing.
yeah, because it's air conditioning, right? But what I have done is, as I've driven across the country, I have tried to key into local nets and local repeaters and things like that, and I'm just getting to be cranky. There's this thing where this one repeater, I know why they do it. It just doesn't actually work the way that they think it will. You have to key up and say this is, and then unkey, and
Yeah,
then key
right.
up again, KM9G. And so when everybody's trying to join the net, everybody's keying up this is, and then they're all unkeying, and then they're all keying up again, and you're just doubling the amount of collisions, as we call it in networking. So the amount of
Well, what they
doubling.
should be doing is saying, "Hey, 5 calls now, 7 calls." They slice it up like that.
And if your net is the same
Yeah.
6 people every week, just assume that they're there, and just call
Bubba
them
and
by
Leroy are
name.
there, and
Yeah.
Johnny will be there as soon as Mary Sue lets him get done.
Hey, Bubba, your turn. WT1W, go ahead if you're there.
Yeah.
And then you just wait a second. No
Yeah.
WT1W today. Ape, if you had a call sign, you could go ahead too.
Right. The HF mobile thing, and that's, I don't know. I have the 857 and I have an ATOS now, and I'm pondering it. I don't know. I may or may not. The ATOS is a lot bigger antenna than what I've got on the truck now, and I don't know that I want to be that guy. Plus, which it makes going through the car wash and to the doctor's office a pain
Then
in
take
the
it off
ass.
and then cap it.
Yeah.
Well, my antenna folds, and I'm constantly having to jump out and fold it down for stuff. It's just such a pain in the butt.
Yeah. So I don't know. And like we're coming up on Dayton here in a couple months. And I'm thinking about putting the 857 on the dashboard and rigging that ATOS up somewhere so I could do HF. And then I'm going to go, I am tired of this, and turn it off and go back to listening to an
You
audio.
complain about the
music.
screen on that Anytone, but you're going to put 857 on there.
857's
Well,
even smaller, yeah.
And that is what slowed me down right there, exactly, because this screen already has the lines problem in it. So I'm like, I probably can't even
Oh,
see
you got
this
the
while I'm driving.
ghetto 857. Jeez.
Yeah.
Let's see a
I
video
need,
on your channel about fixing that.
I
They
need to find the
they
parts.
do, Jeff. But I've heard 2-meter nets where it's like 6 people check in, and it's
Same 6 people.
and they're like checking in, no traffic, no updates.
Yeah, Chris Robinson, that is exactly right. And that is what slowed me down from already doing it. That and the small screen on the 857. I travel 3 times a year. Orlando, Huntsville, Dayton. That's it. It's the only time I go anywhere
But I
anymore.
mean, you got a coffee in one hand, a smoke in the other one, the microphone floating around, tuning in FM,
It's on
HF.
a
Bucky's brisket
it's on a
sandwich.
it's on a stretch thing hanging from the cab of the pickup truck, so I can key up
Let
with
go when it,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't talk on HF because somebody made the comment about it's not really for city, and that's 90%, 95% of what I drive is to work and back.
To the
So,
big city.
yeah. Do we think
If,
the FTX-1X will support the ATOS, Scott or Dog? I would be absolutely
yes,
surprised if it didn't.
I
Yeah,
would be
it's got
shocked if it
to.
didn't. Yeah,
That's one of Yesu's golden gooses, is that
that
ATOS.
that's it's got to
But
be
it's
their
the
loss leader. Is that
Oh,
ATOS?
yeah,
but what's the name of
absolutely.
it? It's the FTD one X
F, FTX
FTX
1X.
1F.
1F,
FT.
okay.
I thought there was a
Yeah.
D in there too.
Hell, there may be. Yesu has copyright on all those letters, F, D, T, and X.
Yeah, and they put like D, R, and E at the end of everything too.
Right. I mean, anyway, so that's the thing about HF. If you're on the road a lot, it's probably a good thing. And if I had to drive more every day, maybe I would. But I don't know.
It's like
And Steve,
impossible to get a ham shack that does every single thing. All
Right,
like
right?
if I have one set up to do like beaconing of APRS, that's a radio that's just dedicated to that thing now. And
right.
now I need another radio, another 2 meter radio. So now I need two 2 meter antennas.
That's
Like
why I
I'm
have
struggling with that.
that's why I have two mobile radios in my truck at this time. So
Yeah.
I've got call on one VFO. I've got All Star on another VFO. I have Toads on the third VFO, and I have APRS on the fourth. And I don't talk on any of them.
But you're that guy. You say you don't want to be that guy. You are that guy.
He's a whacker.
There's only two antennas on the truck. Well, three if you count the FM antenna, which
You're that guy.
I could be. I could
So
be.
Radiodity makes a quad VFO radio, the DB50 or the QB50, both of them. It's the same radio body, but one does something different than the other. I don't know what it is, but they make one of those, and it's an interesting looking radio. It's got a face only a mother could love.
You said it's a quad band. So what is it like tens?
No, not quad band, quad VFO.
Oh yeah, I
You
know which
can
one you're talking
listen
about.
to
But
four
one of
channels
those bands is like
simultaneously.
That's kind of cool.
well, one of those bands is like 300 megahertz or something like that. It's like not one that
Yeah,
we legally use as hams.
yeah.
Now, Chris
But
Robinson said he lives 100 miles from the city. So, yeah, absolutely, Chris. I live in the Metro Montgomery County area. I mean, I'm only 10 miles out of town. So I think that's the biggest things to look for when you're talking about mobile radios. And I mentioned remote head, and I think we covered that. But the downside to the 710 that I have, that I showed you guys, is it has two cables going to the head. So it's got the control cable. Well, no, it's not going to the head. There's a control cable going to the head, and then the microphone plugs in the base as well. So I still have to dink with two cables. On the 500, the Yaesu 500, for example, the mic plugs in the head, and then there's the control cable from the base. So that's a huge thing. And a lot of radios have remote heads.
Hey, George.
And I'm trying to think, the 706 Mark I that I had has a
Oh, go
remote
ahead.
head. But yeah, and the microphone plugs into the head on that. So that works. But that's a
Yeah.
very old out of production radio.
So Tom's asking the question that's on all of our minds. How much do you guys actually talk on the radio per week in your vehicle versus base station? So I would say exactly the same amount on my vehicle and my base station.
Yeah.
well, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, technically,
Yeah,
possibly, yes.
Steve's is the
But
same.
I have no radio mounted in my truck, and I have no radio mounted in my ham shack. I mean, I guess those are mounted. I mean, that might count, but they're also all turned off.
Well, but before the pandemic, I would check into two different morning nets every morning, most of the
Yes.
time, and there might be some light talking and stuff like that. I probably would listen more than I'll talk. One of the things I've noticed is that a lot of repeater morning nets are very clicky to the people who are in that club. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not a member of any ham club other than Toads, so I wouldn't talk on it too much. But then at night, I used to talk on my 2 meter way more than ever on HF. But I'm not using that stopwatch to time it.
I need to get and so my RV has got aluminum siding. So I need to get an antenna mounted permanently outside of the RV in order to have a station or mounted easily outside of the RV. And this is really funny. There's a difference between people that go camping for the weekend and people who full-time RV like I do. And I'm not throwing shade in either direction, but like a weekender will come out and set up all their lawn chairs and get out their Blackstone grill and set up all the fancy lights and put their awning out and string everything up and set up, all their antennas and the mobile canopy with the bug netting and everything. And I just like show up and make dinner in my RV.
I mean,
That's
I
it.
think honestly, if I was going to buy a new radio right now, I'd probably get this guy for 350, and mostly just because I like that screen more than I like the other one, even though
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't have a data
$50
port
more.
though.
Let's see.
I keep looking for one radio to rule them all.
Yeah, you are. That is the One Ring, and I think it's in the bottom of Mordor already. They don't
But
have
are
any
you gonna
pictures
are you
of.
gonna do that in your vehicle though?
I am
No, I'm not.
probably
I'm not.
well, we as YouTubers lead an interesting lifestyle where we're constantly changing out radios and looking at different radios and sharing all the information that we find and that kind of stuff. So we lead kind of a weird life. If I had a car that I kept for more than a year, which hasn't existed for the last 5 years, and then I might do all this stuff, and that's where the N7600 would come into play because it's an Android tablet, it's a radio, it's one antenna, and you've got all the digital modes that you can do on 2 meters right at your
Right, right,
fingertips,
right.
right there.
So two things, and somebody else beat me to it. The 991A would be, in my opinion, the one radio to rule them all as far as basic features go. It doesn't have Bluetooth though, but 440.
You can add
It
it.
has 2 meter sideband, which is not a common feature. It has HF. It has a color screen that's arguably okay. I mean, and if you're a long
It
haul driver,
puts your
it,
1990s BlackBerry to shame, yeah.
yeah, I mean it does. But if you were going to put a bigger radio in your vehicle, like if you're an over the road trucker, I would absolutely put a 991A in that truck. That would be what I would rock with.
See, I'd have probably multiple radios though.
I probably would too. I already do, and I'm not a long haul trucker. So that somebody made that comment, and I meant to mention that earlier. So you're exactly right. Whoever said that, the 991, and they
See, I
said
think
Chuck would always say
in
that
most
too.
cases the Shack in the Box solution I think is completely overrated because everybody I know has got Apollo radios.
Says the 705 fanboy.
Well, I like the 705, but I don't. If it didn't have 2 meters and 70 centimeters, I'd still like this. I still like it, right? Because to be honest with you, if I take that somewhere and I set it up, I still have an HT for 2 meters and 70 centimeters that I don't.
Yep, one
You know what I
radio to
mean?
Yeah,
carry does
yeah.
everything.
Like I'm not. Yes, I love the 705, but it's not just because it's a Shack in the Box. It's got a lot of other stuff that I like about it too.
We were talking about Bluetooth. So the new radio from ICOM, which is the same, the new Boss is the same as the old Boss. Right
Black
here,
edition.
you got to buy an optional Bluetooth module and headset. And I would be
Yep.
willing to bet that that module and that headset are only work with each other.
And they're probably expensive as crap too. And it's
I,
probably a module that you need to insert inside the board.
yep, I would bet.
$20
270,
ESP32 and some adapter cables.
50 watt. Right, exactly, Tio. $5 worth of parts.
Yep. Well, those
And
those ESP32s are like $3 in quantity or something. It's like
yeah.
it's like a Pentium 3 performance
Oh, here we
computer or
go.
something like that.
90
$100.
bucks.
Ow.
90
Ow.
bucks. Where's the headset? Oh, holy crap. That
Right.
can you are you shitting
It's
me?
a half wired headset. That's the one for the 705. Because
Oh
well,
my
so here's the
god.
weird part about Bluetooth and ham radio. You need the PTT button. So it needs
Yeah.
to be able to pair multiple Bluetooth devices at the same time, which brings it into 1995 timeline.
Yeah. Wow. If I was to buy a new mobile today, this would probably be the one I'd get because I'd click add to cart.
No data
I'd click
port.
PayPal.
Yeah, I'd get this 150 Yaesu.
I'd
There's no
log
data
in.
port on the 2730.
But I'm just teasing y'all. I'm not going to buy it today
Not this hour of today,
at
but
this time.
today.
I know I'm talking myself out of it. I've
There's
already
there's no
got the
data
Kenwood.
port. Get rid of it.
Do it,
Okay.
Jim. We don't need
Out
no
of
data
your
port.
mind.
I've got the Kenwood. The Kenwood does. The only thing the Kenwood doesn't have is I don't have the GPS model Kenwood. So APRS is, whatever. And I don't care about that because I have the 500, which does APRS just fine. And mostly that's so my wife can track me while I'm driving to and fro.
But
She
are
does.
you not going to consolidate from 2 radios to 1? You're still going to. This will be your second radio in your car.
Yes. Yeah.
You're that guy.
I am that guy. I told you I was a huge nerd at the beginning. And I feel bad because I don't talk on them all the time, but I can. And
Jim,
when I'm driving to Dayton or Orlando or even Huntsville,
we have to talk to you about your branding, Jim. You held that mug up, and the Coffee and Ham Radio's logo wasn't facing the audience. Fix
oh
that.
yeah. See, I might put the lid on backwards. Here we go. Is
Got to
this
pay the
better?
bills here, son. Much better.
Well, let's talk about the antennas and the toroids on our website while we're chastising me about branding. Run a
Right.
commercial there, Steve. Commercialist, buddy.
Oh,
We have to pay some bills.
I'm not the only one that's capable of sizzling these antennas up. There is one other person on this stream.
Who's
But when
capable?
I mean, but when we
You're
say
asking, or you
sizzle,
are you agreeing?
when we say
Like,
sizzle,
who's
I just don't
capable?
know that ape comes to my mind
Yeah,
immediately.
that's true. I
What?
get it. I get it. Talk about this
Sizzle 'em, ape.
Chronos.
What do you want me to talk about? The Chronos?
Yeah,
All
talk
of our
about this
antennas.
Chronos.
Well,
Because it's sold out right now. That's
it
why
is
I
so
want to talk about that.
it is sold out. But it's pretty. It's a pretty fun antenna. It's a kit build, and what we use is a. This is the box, but this one's been configured for something different. But it's about a 4x4 box, and we put it's 168 toroid, so it's 1.68 inches across. I think is what it is. But it's the Type 42 that we use, this powdered iron toroid that we use on the Poseidon. It's designed for 40 and up, and it has a 25-foot element and 4 17-foot radials. You can play around with the radial length if that's something that you want to do. But it works really well. It does a pretty good job on 40, but where it really sings is like up on 20, 15, 17, 15, 10, 12. And where they're
Good luck, Jimmy.
they're $85. Is that what we have them set at right now?
That's what they're set at right now. I think that is our final price. Yeah, because we sold the original batch for $79.99.
Right?
Yeah.
And we have the parts incoming. They should be here relatively soon. These boxes, when you buy them in bulk, take up a lot of space at Chuck's house, and he doesn't want us to order 200 of these boxes at a time. So,
Well, no, he doesn't care. I think Mrs. Thompson is the one that's giving him the stink eye.
Yeah, we'd have to raise our antenna prices if we got Chuck a he. What is that, man cave?
A he shed, a man cave.
He shed.
right.
I was gonna say he shed, but
He's got like 3 sheds out in the backyard.
Yeah, he does.
I'm like, bro,
load up the motorhome.
that one shed's probably got like ends of 2x4s and stuff like that in there, just in case he needs them for something.
Yeah, that's right.
But and then we also have some more chokes coming in. With the chokes, we have a problem sourcing the coaxial cable that we want to
Yes.
use for that. So we're potentially looking at an upgraded coaxial cable, and so I'll have those here in about a week, and we'll start doing some testing, which would tack $5 or so onto the price of the chokes. So what we might have is just 2 different lines of chokes moving forward, but we should
You
have
say 2 different lines of Coke.
that too. But the chokes are pretty exciting. It's the same choke design that I've been using for years. They work really well. We should have another batch of 40 of them pretty soon, probably about 2 weeks.
Did we talk about Jimmy joining?
We
as a
we
member?
did, yeah.
We did.
That's why
We
you
did.
were off stream with audio difficulties.
Yeah. Good. And of course, we still have all of our other antennas available as well. We are out of any drinking things at this moment, and we'll bring that back sometime when we can all agree on a color that's not fugly, which is kind of difficult. We may rehash old colors. Who knows?
Maybe more of a regular mug size too. I can't commit to that much coffee.
That's a rookie thing. I mean,
See, I like a big giant cup because I put a lot of ice in my drinks.
I don't put ice in my coffee. This is
Oh yeah, it is fantastic for cold drinks. I use it for cold drinks
Oh
all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah, well, Mrs. Perry uses one of these for her. She drinks water. I don't drink water because fish poop in it, but coffee, yeah, is my.
I don't eat vegetables because that's what my food eats.
That's right.
Well, you get them indirectly.
Right.
Right,
I
right,
get it
yeah.
indirectly. I flavor my water with
Once
coffee
removed.
with Diet Dr. Pepper flavor.
Broccoli once removed.
Ed, you are probably correct. I think, was there any more
We talked
questions?
about
We
sending her
do.
something, right?
Kathy gets 100% of Chuck's cut. You know how that works.
Yeah, that's right.
Camel
Oh
would be
boy.
nice. Bonus, I like that.
Let's see. When is Ape's Shack tour? When Ape
It's
gets
not
a
right now. I can
license?
tell you that. This place,
Oh, mine's a mess, and y'all can see it.
it looks like a bomb went off after a bomb went off.
We could have a build party at Dayton or Huntsville. Yes, but we don't want you guys over at our Airbnb. So,
Right.
Well, they're doing that FDIM thing. That would be cool.
ooh.
We could do that.
I mean, I think the build party is a good idea, but I don't know where we would
We need to get a
host
hotel
that.
conference.
I tell you what, if anybody wants to build one of our antennas, come by our table and we'll help put them together there. We'll just have to
Yeah.
figure out.
Ape will do that.
We'll just
Watch
have to figure out how we're
watch-
going to do it.
Watch the ape build antennas. I mean, I think we can sell that.
It'd be easy enough to bring a complete build kit with us. Not a
Well, the
complete
big thing
antenna
is-
kit, but a build kit to build the antenna.
Well, the thing is, like, we would need a soldering iron, right? That's probably the big piece, and the Dremel. Probably, like, we'd have to figure out a way to power that stuff.
Grouch is saying he's got Friday through Monday reserved at Montesano. That's rookie talk, Grouch. You got to be there the whole week like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Right.
Seriously. Thursday we do the cookout at the pavilion, and then we're all hanging out doing radio stuff. Like it's now the nerd mecca gathering of August.
I think so. And honestly,
Get out of here with that pine seal. Get out of here. With
You
that
know,
pine
Abe, I'm gonna send you one just so you use it and shut up about it, because you'll like it once you use it.
I have
It's the greatest
I
thing
have
ever.
questions.
Go ahead.
Me and Jonathan both answered this. Is this the one you're using?
Yes.
This thing?
Yes.
This little wee tiny thing?
Yes.
And this
Plug
gets
it
hot
in.
enough to actually
It's like a
melt solder
vegan.
today.
It's like a vegan soldering iron.
Jim, I hate to remind you of this, but you have actually been on stream with me, watching me
I know.
solder with that soldering iron, and it
just-
works fantastically.
I thought it'd be bigger.
It's not the size that counts, Jim. You've been saying that your whole life.
know.
He's quoting Roadhouse.
I thought it'd be bigger. That's
It doesn't
right.
have to be big to get the job done. This is 2025, Jim. Soldering irons don't have to be the size of a small truck.
I have not used it yet. I got this and
Yeah.
I thought I must have ordered the wrong thing. This is like
It's got the exact same thermal mass as every other soldering iron with replaceable tips.
Oh damn!
it's a child soldering iron here. It's my
Works
daughter,
fine.
my 13-year-old
A vegan.
girl could
It's a
use this.
vegan soldering iron.
I mean, I haven't used
Those
it yet.
of us
I've
that
got to,
know how to solder and actually do solder on a routine basis actually
Oh,
like the Pine
really?
Seal and the T100 that it's cloned off of, and it's got open source firmware so you can hack. And here's the funny thing: Abe's bringing up his Hacko FX888D there. That's the one that he asked me for a recommendation on.
I did because
Oh,
the one I
snap.
had beforehand was crap, and I can't believe that you would use the pine seal over this. I mean,
I have both. I like both, but the Pine Seal is easier to take in an RV.
I get the spatial considerations that you have there, but this thing, man, this tip is dirty. I get.
This is my soldering kit, and there is my Pine Seal.
I don't know.
Everything I need except for the solder because I haven't bought another bobbin.
I don't know.
See, Dennis solders batteries with the TS100, which is the same as the Pine Seal.
right, Matt, the easy bake solder.
He uses a welder for the battery stuff, though. He doesn't solder.
For the nickel strips, yes, but the rest of it needs solder.
Oh, I hear that Hollywood. I hear that in.
Judge me by my size, do you?
Yeah, I hear that. Yes, I do. Yoda.
Whip it out, use it. We could do a Monday Night Nuggets, Jim. You got a kit to build?
I do. I have my KV4P. My KV4P. Radio. I was going to use this for that.
Okay. Yeah,
I haven't used.
that's-
I haven't
that's-
used it yet. I just was. I thought it'd be bigger.
That's the most recent thing that I built on stream with it was the KV4P.
I know. I
And then
saw you
did
doing it, but
the FT5D Mars mod, and that was a problem with the FT5D itself. They used like the oldest, crustiest lead-free solder they could find, and
That's like the
I've fought with like
e-bike
5
of
different soldering irons
soldering
on
irons.
that.
oh, the e-bike.
This ain't
Yeah.
socks and Crocs, son. This thing actually works.
Or like the scooter, that you see all the hipsters ride around on.
Hey, Chris. See, I in my mind, I was thinking of TS101, and there's a significant difference between that and this one.
Hey, we got to end the stream, boys.
Well, go pee if you got to. It is.
Yeah.
We're an hour and a half in. Tio's
So-
going to show us his dingus.
There's this isn't the TS100. This is the latest hotness. You ain't real soldering until you're tweezer soldering.
Yeah, that's for surface mount stuff, right?
Yeah. This is for moving surface mount stuff.
Right, right. And I've got a Weller, Marvin. That's my big one out in the
You
shop. I
got
don't
you got the
remember
big
which.
gun with the 12 gauge wire loop
No,
coming
no,
out the
no. I
end.
have a Weller digital soldering station
Now there's some mass.
that runs off of real electricity, not USB. But
120-volt AC.
all right, I'm going to hit the button. Join me and Steve tomorrow morning at 9 for Ham Church. Y'all be there, or Ham Devil will get you. I do have a Weller gun too,
Ham
Thomas.
devil.
So anyway, I'm going to hit the button. Guys, thank you very
Thanks
much
all.
for watching. Have a good one. See you.
Pull start soldering iron.
Wow.